Hey guys, good morning. Oh, I got my mouse right here. Welcome to David's Becker Art. Thanks for showing up, guys. I just got back last night from AWS, and I gotta say, if you have ever had a chance to go over there, I'm sure you'd loved it. But if you didn't ever have a chance to go there, I really suggest that you try to get to one of these shows, these AWS, NWS, TWSA shows. And the catalog doesn't do it justice. Let me tell you, when you see original work of art compared to the catalogs, there's no comparison. It's just amazing when you see these artists who are in these shows and their work. It's just I was blown away this year, and just got back last night, and I thought it inspired me so much that I took this shot right here. And actually, I spent 2 days in New York, and I just took about 1,000 photos. And so, if you ever have a chance to, when you're out there as an artist, you really should be taking your own photographs, right? And so, this is the one I shot there. And nowadays, with our phones, it's great that you can be able to just go in there and walk around and shoot shots with your phone. I mean, in my phone, I just had gotten a new one because mine broke, and but I just used the volume button, and you can just press the volume button. It's so neat that you can just press that. You can go right up to somebody, right to their face, and you can take a picture. And they're so clear nowadays, these photographs. So really, find your own reference material. We talked a lot about that this weekend in New York. I went to the AWS meeting and stuff, and they were talking about that, how all this AI stuff and all this, using photographs from the internet, which I use, for the classes, but don't use them for, use them for practice. Don't use them to become an artist that with what you want to paint, basically your style. Look for your own pictures. Look for your own things when it comes to painting, your whatever you want to paint. You gotta love what you paint, and you have to know a lot about it. And I love city scenes, and being in New York this last weekend, like I said, I took about 1,000 photographs. And so let me just get going here, before I'm just very oh my gosh, where's my water? Well, guys, I gotta run and get my water. All right, let me see. I'll be right back. Sorry. Sorry about that. Wow, I can't believe I did that. First time I did that, over 700 videos. I forgot my water. It's been a busy evening, and then getting here. So who's all here? I didn't even see who's all here. Hey, Maria, Sherry. I can get out of hand. I take so many pictures that I ran out of storage space. Yes, I actually did the same thing because my Google account, you have to give them another, like, I don't know, $29 if you want to have more photos. So I got that high with the stuff that I had so many pictures, I had to pay a little extra. Anyways, getting back to this, and sorry about that. Whew, just ran inside. Sherry says, Maria, I have tried to find your classes on Facebook, but unsuccessful. Yeah, Sherry, go to, or Maria's right there. Maria, give her your address, or or actually put down on my chat where you can go see your classes, where you get your gouache classes. All right, so let me get started here real quick. But this is a scene I took, and actually that hotel is right behind these ladies that I stayed at. That's the hotel I stayed in, and that's the hotel right on Washington Square Hotel, which is across the street this way is Washington Square in New York City. And when I started city scene, I draw it up, but I don't draw every little window, and I don't draw things that are really small, especially for a scene like this. I don't do that. I work more on trying to get the big picture. And for this, I also put your value study there. You see the value study I have up there? I also got to put on my gloves. I've been very slack this morning. I was watching, I don't know if you watched Sunday Morning, but I was watching and they were talking all about YouTube this morning and stuff. It's the 20th anniversary for YouTube. And I'm thinking, boy, that's funny because I'm going right over to YouTube right now when I was listening to their report. But we're going to start here with the large lights. And this is kind of interesting on this one, is that lights usually when you're doing your background or when you're doing landscapes or cityscapes, you usually do the background as the lights, right? This one, I have a lot of dark spec here. But what I'm going to do is still make these dark spec here lighter. They have to be dark so that it follows my value study of, you see how the dark goes through here? So that's still got to be there, and then the dark shadowing in front. But I'm still going to start with my lights. And the sky was blue. If you see in the photograph, it's kind of blue. But I'm not sure if I want to make it that blue because I don't want to use blue as a color, so I have to use orange. You know, you don't have to use the colors that are in the picture. And a lot of times, if the sky is too blue, I find that you have to put that in everything. And I wouldn't mind using yellow in the sky because sometimes that happens where it's so bright that it's yellow. And so I may do that. I'm gonna do some yellow skies. I've been really into yellow lately. I'm not sure why. And so I'm just gonna go in here right now, and then I'm gonna paint through stuff because I'm doing my lights. I'm taking a little bit of white and yellow. And after seeing that show, the American Watercolor Society show, it's just, I mean, it is so unbelievably beautiful, the show itself. And seeing all the different subject matter and the creativity that these artists have, it's just mind-boggling. And it's you guys too. You know, you guys got to do this. You got to think up things that you like to paint and you make them yours. You know, that it's just so neat to see different styles, different. You know, there's no styles that are very close. I mean, there's some that are kind of close, but everybody has their own personal touch to watercolor, and I think that's just amazing that you can just take water, some pigment, and make these beautiful scenes that are just, you know, your own. I'm not sure if they put that on there, but the photos. I don't think they put the photos of the images of AWS. But if you get a catalog, and I know they have traveling shows, but that's not all the paintings. And so I'm going to keep this part right in here, a little bit lighter, right where the people are. That's where my contrast is going to be. And so when I'm going through here, and I feel it's so much fun also when you take your own photos and then be able to paint your own photos. It's just one of those things. You really, if you're going to become a professional, start getting your materials for yourself. Don't steal them from another artist. Don't go online and take the ones that we're using for like planing or for our classes. Those are okay to learn from and stuff, and you can actually learn a lot out of them. And they are royalty free, so it's okay to use them. But when you get to the shows, you have to use your own photographs. That's one of those things they were talking about all weekend was how you have to use your own photography for these shows. You can do whatever you want to those photographs, but they have to be your own photographs. And I totally agree with that, and I think that's a good thing to do because in time, you're going to want to be able to paint something that you totally love and you know a lot about. And if you do that, you'll know how to paint them because you know so much about it. And it makes it more fun, too. Like, I love city scenes. I've always loved city scenes. When I was in Chicago working for all those years, I took all my own photographs and I did a lot of things. So it was fun going out here and actually finding all these photographs. And like I said, I took at least 1,000. And it was a beautiful day. The last 2 days I was in New York City, it was just beautifully gorgeous days. I actually didn't dress right for it because I was thinking that it was going to be cold. And so people were on shorts and they were sunbathing in the park. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I got this big stuff on. And so there's my lights. I'm coming down with my lights, yellow and violet. Of course, you know I love those colors, the two colors. My two favorite colors, by the way. And so this is, I'm just doing the lights again. Just getting in here with the lights. Going to leave some parts of white. This is going to be shadow down here. But I always have to fill in a little bit. And this side is going to be light of the buildings. This side is going to be in shadow of these buildings. So whatever I put over these buildings is fine because I'm going to shadow them later. And then these buildings over here are going to be light, but the side of them are going to be a little bit darker. And please ask questions. I'm here to show you guys. Okay, so we're going to go in here and just kind of go in here and get this background buildings a little bit darker. I'm going to make them more in the yellow because I'm going to keep my background warm and my foreground cool, which I know is weird, but I'm going to try it. And sometimes you can do either way. You can do all your you can do a warm background, especially when you do snow scenes. This usually happens a lot, but you can also do that with a scene like this and make your background warm and then make your foreground cool, because I'm going to have a big shadow here in the foreground. And so again, these are my lights. These are my lights. I'm still doing my lights. I'll keep some of the side of these buildings. I'm going to keep them a little bit. Let's put some color in there. Come on. And you notice I'm not doing little itty bitty things right now. I'm just going to be putting, and this may look like a dark building right now because I don't have any darks in the dark areas, but this is actually light. This is my lights. These cars and stuff are in the shadow, and they're the light parts of the shadow though. So I'm going to keep them white, or no, I shouldn't keep them white because they have to have a little bit of color in them. So I'm just going to go over them with some nice color that's going to be back there. And I don't even know sure why I put the colored picture up there, because I really rarely look at the picture for color. And I watched the Thomas Schaller demonstration this week in New York too, and he does the same thing. He pretty much teaches just like I do, where it's all about creating an image, you know, and a painting, and he rarely looks at the photo after he's started. I mean, because the drawing is there and you just look for the values. He's big into values. I mean, super big into values. And you know, I'm really big into values, but he is like so into values. And now I'm going to do the lights of these people. She's got like I'm going to give her, she has a light, and she's got kind of like a green vest on. A light lime green vest, which I'm going to change her outfit. I'm not going to make that light. I'm just going to make I'm doing everything light for them so that I can do my darks after that. I'll put in he's got the guy right there has a backpack that's orange. So why not do that? So I put that in there real quick. I'm just getting the lights and then the darks around that. And a flesh tone, I'll give these people some flesh tones on their face. I don't have to worry about their hair. Their hair is darker, except her hair is light. So let's put a little orange or yellow, like a little blonde here. So I'll put that in there. Now the pants are dark, and see the hydrant is black and white, which is Chicago hydrants are usually red, right? And so I may change that to a red hydrant just because I can. And I'm not doing the shadows yet. Again, I'm still trying to do the lights, trying to figure out the lights. And I'm going to put some lights, windows over this. This building is actually kind of in shadow from this building right here. So only the ones back there are light. So I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to kind of go back here and do a little color in there. A little orange and violet makes kind of a gray, even though this is kind of a beige kind of building. And all this over here can be wet too. What I can do is I can go over this and kind of make it... See, because in the windows there's a light, and I'm going to have to go around that later. And so this has got to be dark enough so that you can see the light of the window. And also these signs, I'm just going to put a light wash over them. Because it's kind of white, but it's not totally solid white. So I'm just putting a little color over that to get that later. You got to put it in your lights first, and then you put in your darks. Your mediums, your large, mediums, and darks, right? The Becker Art 3-step. And then as we come forward here, I'm just going to do some really light, well, actually some medium tone shadows, I think. That's the great thing about watercolor is just these beautiful large washes that you can go over everything. I just saw a new artist on Instagram, and I hate when I go through and I can't find them again, and I'm gonna have to look. I think I friended somebody that these are amazing. She's a really amazing watercolorist, and totally forgot what her name was now, and so I'm gonna have to go back in and try to search for her name. But she'll provide me in my video, or not my video, my newsletter, as artist of the week. I mean, I met so many new artists of the week that I have plenty of them to put out there. So I think I got all my lights now, and this is going to be. Let me do the light street now. I just kind of forgot how to do the light streets. This is going to be the light part of the street, and I'm going to use the crosswalk to be the lightest. And then this back here will be... See how you can go through things? You don't have to go around things when you work light to dark. And that's why you do it. That's why you go from light to dark, so that you can go through things and later on put the darks on top of that. And that's called negative painting. See how I negative painted those stripes in there? You don't need masking fluid for big things like that. And then this is the street, or the sidewalk, which is really light, but it's not white. It's not white, which you could use some of it white. But and I'm going to make this part cool. But when you say cool, I can also put warmth into the coolness a little bit too. And this is going to be a little bit darker. Right now, this is going to be all my lights. I forgot to spray my back of the paper. It's wrinkling a little bit. It's only 140. Not sure why I used 140 today, but I did. It's the first thing I found laying there. All right, let's go to get this big. Let me just wet the back, because I forgot this is 140. So when you want to not to, and I take my sprayer and I just spray the back. And I usually put it on a board, you know. I have a board right here. I have a board. Hold on, I'll put a board right underneath there. So you take like a board like this, put it down, and then just lay it on there when you're using 140, and don't tape it down so it can expand and get nice and big. I will spray the front of this part right here too, and it'll all lay flat. I don't have to worry about it one bit. I'm just going to go over this, see? It's just going to lay nice and flat. All right, dark time, mediums times. Let's say put some mediums in here. And so, like I said, I'm going to make the foreground here. Put a little blue and purple. And a lot of pigment. I'm running out of purple here. I got to make my own purple here. Blue and red, huh? I don't have any purple left there. So I'm starting out with the middle tones. And don't be scared of doing city scenes. City scenes are fun. It's just that the drawing is going to be more complex, but simplify those large shapes. Don't worry about every little window, every little crack in the sidewalk. Just worry about the big picture. The big picture is what's important. And your center of interest, of course, is important, and make sure you get the right values right there. And so that's important. But the big, it's just a drawing. And many of you who trace, that's fine. Just trace it so it's really nice and fine. So the drawing is right. And this is strange for me to do the foreground before I get the background done. But while this is drying, I need it to dry. I'm just going to do my big foreground, which is medium. But I'm now going to put in some shadowing there. Oh, and I want to mention too, this afternoon from 1 to 4, there's a show that I'm in Lake Zurich. So if you're coming to Lake Zurich, if you're near Lake Zurich, actually, there's a show from our watercolor club called the Lakes Region Watercolor Guild, and we put the show, our Main Street Gallery in Lake Zurich put the show together for us, and so I will be there from 1 to 4. And well, maybe not the whole time, but maybe like 1:30. But I should be there and looking at all our members' works, because the members all put work into this, and so come by and take a look. And that's in Lake Zurich, Illinois, if you're in the area. I am always amazed at how Thomas Schuller keeps the texture of rough paper so vibrant. Yeah, he does. He does his washes very simple, like I'm doing right here, and just keeps them laying there, and then he'll just get darker and darker as he goes along, and as he comes forward, he has that pattern that he always does. The foreground dark, middle ground and background. It's just he does it on. It doesn't matter what. He did a Central Park painting. And you can watch it. It'll be online, I think, in a couple of weeks or something. To put it online at the American Watercolor Society show. I mean, website. So now I'm putting a little bit of blue and violet, and I'm kind of making it a little bit darker so I can get the shadow in the front here. And this will dry a lot later, so I want it kind of dappled lighting in here. And I can do the curb in a little bit. I just want this to be dappled. What is dappled? It's like there's a tree. This is Washington Park over here on the side this way, that way, and this is trees that are blocking the sun. And so you go in here, and I would keep it wet. Don't do it hard edged, though. You could make some of them hard edged, but really they look better when they're soft edged, and so they just make everything wet. It's very simple to make everything wet. And then don't just use one color for things. Try to use a few more than one color. And see, I'm making it dappled. And when this dries, it's going to be 20% lighter. And then when I put my lines of the sidewalk in there, it's going to look great. It's going to look absolutely wonderful. And one thing about when you're working city scenes, you don't have to be so perfect with all the lines and stuff, because there's so much happening in sometimes these scenes that you can be a little bit off with things. It's not like a portrait where you have to be right on. With a drawing, you don't have to be right on with it so much. A lot of times make it, the perspective has to be pretty right. But, if I only have like 4 or 5 little fence posts right there, it doesn't matter. Not really. Oh, there's a train this morning. So now let's get a little bit of a dark in here. Anything that has to be dark and you want to try to get that right when it's soft edged, try to get it with a lot of pigment. And like this edge right here, I'm just going to make that with a little bit of dark. And see, that's a wet wash, but you can still make it thick paint on your brush with hardly any water, and then you just make that line. And it could drift away, depends on how much pigment you put down and how much water's in your brush. And that's what you have to learn. I mean, that's something you just don't pick up like instantly. You just got to figure it out, and it becomes natural to you. You just do it. I was telling the class last time about how when I try to do things wrong, I try to show you what not to do. It's hard for me because I've taught myself to do it the right way, and so trying to do it wrong is actually harder than making it right, because that's all I do now is I go in there and I just do it with naturally. You naturally do things, so you don't think about it. I'm not thinking about how much pigment I have in my brush to this. I don't think about it. I just do. And you gotta get to the point where you just do. Just do it. Like Nike says, just do it. All right, so there's my shadowing. I know it's very purple, but it'll be fine, because the side of the building will be kind of the yellowish, like a yellow brown. And is it dry yet? It's dry enough. Let's see. It's so nice when you're using complements, because you can just go for them and you can gray them, and you got to go around that pole, or should I make it with white? There's a lot to go around here, but let's just do this fast. Let's get through here, and like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not doing a super fine painting that is so fine. It's not hyper realist. It's just this is a medium side of the building. There's a pole right here. I'm gonna go around. And there's a pole right here too. And this stuff I can also pull out later and also put in white paint. I don't mind that, but some people like to use masking fluid for that too. And it's all up to you with the way you want to make those lights stay. Either you put them in later, rub them out, put them in with a masking fluid. This is dark right here. I use purple and the yellow, and look at what it gives me, a nice brownish, and if I'm going to put a little more warmth in it, put more red in it. Yeah, try. It's so fun going to these shows too, because you really get inspired when you see so many different kinds of work and so many different kinds of, and they're all watercolor, and you're just looking at it and you're going, wow. You know, you don't want to try to copy that because everybody has their own style, so that you don't have to copy it, but boy, it sure inspires you to see. And sometimes you're going to even pick up ideas or just kind of techniques, and you ask the artist, man, how did you do that? How did you get that? And you can try it. You can maybe put it into your style. And most teachers, you know, I think they show, like Thomas Schaller, you know, he says that, you know, copy what he does, but you're never going to be a Tom Schaller. It's just going to be he is his own kind of painting. And so you can get close to it, but you should always just go ahead and, you know, paint. You'll develop your own style. Just putting the shadows in now. This is underneath the carpet, and this is like these crosswalk lines. I'm negative painting them with a shadow because half of it is in shadow and half of it isn't. And now let's do that side. I'm gonna have to do it smaller, but now I got to go back in here and get this side of the shadowing. Let's see how this part is a little bit wet, so I'm getting this drippiness going through here for the window, which is going to be dark, but the outer edge is light, and so let's get these buildings now done with the shadowing part. And remember I said a warmer background, and this is cool, so my shadows back here are going to be warm. And I don't care what the color of the building is, because I'm doing this all together. If there's a white building back there, do I really want to make it white? I can make it lighter, but I'm not going to make it white. I'm just going to make it a lighter color, a little lighter shadow, but it's still going to be warm. I'm still going to go with warm back there. And this is, I drew this one wrong. This is the front of a building, so I'm just going to go over this like this. And even this shadow over on the floor here should be a little bit warmer. And that's just my choice. In the photograph, it is not warmer back there, but I do that because I either do a warm background, cool foreground, or the opposite. Do the cool background, warm foreground. Sherry, I'm not using the granular colors. They're over there a little bit, and so no, I'm not. I'm just using the regular Holbein. But once you start using those granulation colors, you notice that you can mix your own colors to granulate too. It's like see, I've just put some orange in here, and I got some purple, and just let them mix themselves together, and you can get some of the same effects a little bit. Not as much, of course, you're not going to get as much, but close. Like here, I'm going to put some colors, a little bit of light green over here for the trees. And then these are pretty dark, and so let's get a little bit darker down here. I should do that back building there first and make that a little bit more on the side here. And that was like violet. It's really kind of violet-y gray. Same thing with this building. I'm just going to make it violet-y gray. And knowing that the rest of this stuff back here is going to be pretty dark. This is a dark, and so I have to get it a little bit darker so my dark pattern goes through here. It's the front, and it's right through there is my darks. The front of these are light. Now this I drew this wrong too, because this is the side, but then I missed this building right here, so I did not put this part in. So I'm just going to do this part right here in the top. Leave this lighter, because this is a light part. I draw it close. I don't have to draw it exactly like it is. I can just make it close. And this is kind of odd that the lines stop right at the edge here, so I'm gonna make it I'm gonna take my own artistic license and put the shadow on the opposite side of the crosswalk too. And I'm just gonna make some of the crosswalk invisible, and then go back in later and just maybe use white paint. So there's a shadow across the front of this building. Light to dark, light to dark. Remember, always light to dark. It's also funny when you watch other people teach and they're saying the same thing you're saying. I mean, Thomas Schaller, he was just repeating everything I teach you guys. I mean, it's especially with values. All right, this building, this car right there is. Let's put some warmth back there. See how it's warm back there? And even this side is warm. And that's okay, because my darks are warm here and cool in the foreground. I'm going to have to maybe use the dryer because everything is very wet. So I think I'm going to do that right now. Let me just get a few more back here. I'm going to use the dryer real quickly because I only have half an hour left. The side of these cars, they're kind of in shadow. The FedEx car right here, truck I mean, it's gonna on the side is a little bit darker. Let's see behind, this is their arm. There's gonna be some dark, really darks right here, and these darks back here are not gonna be as dark as in my contrast area right here where my center of interest is. That's gonna be my darks. So let me dry real quick. I have a hair dryer right here. Not a hair dryer, but I don't have my silent one. That's in my case, my teaching case, but I do have my Wagner power stripper. So let me just do that for a second. And like normally I don't use a hair dryer because it speeds up the process of it letting it float and giving you all the granulation. But for this instance, I have to just use it. Otherwise, I can't get going with more stuff. And this dries it very quickly because it is very hot. It's also not as loud as like a hairdryer, but all right, that's not that long, right? All good. Now let's go from the back to the front. I'm going to start all my background stuff and work my way forward and get them all done. Which is almost, they're very close. They're very close. Put some little details here. And this truck right here, this is the side of it. Now let's get some darks going, some nice and dark darks. Use a little bit of Prussian blue, make it kind of a gray. And I don't mind grays when you go over like this, these parts right here. I'm just using gray because I want it darker and also grayer because cities are pretty gray. They don't have much color in them. And so I'm gonna negative paint the windows. I like to have them lighter. And how much you want to follow the actual photo is up to you. If you want to follow it down to a T and get it really tight, that's up to you. I usually like to go more with just a suggestion of what the windows are, and because that's not my center of interest. Do I really want to go that detailed in back there? Not really. On the side of this building, I just notice is I'll just put the windows in here and there. It's a little bit darker here. Let me get a little bit darker, a little bit grayer. And there is no trees right here, but I just accidentally put them in there. I could leave them. Getting darker. I'll go around the... Any questions? No? Okay. Go right into the inside of the garbage truck right here. There's a garbage truck, and who would have thought to put a garbage truck in your picture, right? But it works great. And I remember I forgot this worm back here, so don't make a nice warm gray. And then these tree branches. I'm just going to put some branches in there. And it's a darker green back there, so I'm just going to make a gray green. Just tap, do the nervous twitch, Becker nervous twitch. See, I'm getting darker. I'm just making it darker by darker. Darker and darker as you go along. When I bring that dark, it seems like it stops right here because this is like the tree right there. And I watch this. I'm going to use some water and just dig out my paint right here because I went too dark right there. And so this has a little bit of the light side. And so all I'm doing is rubbing out, right? See? And then I'll put a little bit of green in there. Not really bright green. Well, I could put a little bit brighter green in here. See, but I first take the pigment out, that gray pigment. I take it out first because otherwise it affects the green that I put on top of it. And I still don't have a contrast back there, which I don't really want to have too much contrast back there. There's also a truck back here that's dark, like a loading truck. Like a... I didn't get dark enough yet. I'm still going to get darker. And back here we have the branches, and we have a guy standing right there. This car is going to be dark, dark. So I can make the windshield light. And then around her, now we're getting to center of interest, so now I want to have a bush there. That is a nice and greenish, where's my, so I'm going to make kind of a dark gray-green. Boy, the blooming that's happening in that park was incredible. Some of the blooms of these trees, oh my God, they were just gorgeous. Like the cherry blossoms, apple blossom trees, and boy, there's one tree that had these like pink flowers on them, and they were just all over. It was just amazing, all over the tree too. Like in the trunk, there was this flower on the trunk, and I've never seen a tree like that. And then this goes. This is like, these are pine trees, and let me make them kind of more like this. They cut them on top, but I'm going to make them more like the shape of a cypress tree. Even though they're not cypress trees, but I'm going to make it that. Going to go here. And I'm being very careful right there because that's the lady, right? So I have to be a little bit more careful right there to get my darks. And this lady's carrying a bag. There's a sign right there, which I'm going to go over. There's a restaurant I ate in. It's in the basement right here. It's a little restaurant there. You have breakfast in the morning. Though if you do go to New York, you're going to find everything is very expensive. And I think breakfast was like $16. Yeah, there's a little stairway going down here. See, when you know the place, I can make it up because I've been there. I know what this right here, right by this lady's hand right here, is the doorway getting into this little restaurant. And then that lady is light, and so we're going to just make some darks around this. We'll get a little bit more brownish color. And actually, it's the front, it's in the shadow here, so we're just going to make that a little bit darker. Maybe use a little violet, because it is, I'm going to find some of this violet up there too. Let's put a little violet in here. Or lavender, I should say. She has a white coat, but inside is dark. So I just went over her light coat, unfortunately. I hope also that you have fun when you're painting. You know, if you start not having fun and it gets too complicated, just rest a little bit. You know, try to make it fun again. Don't go in there where it's like it's a hard job and you're really frustrated. Go have a glass of wine or something, or a cup of coffee, which reminds me, I haven't had my cup. So cheers, guys. Yeah, definitely try to have fun when you're painting. It's really important. It shows in your paintings. When you have fun, you start getting to know, and it does take a long time to learn and become professional, but it takes that time. But when you get there, boy, and just spend time on painting. And if you do a bad one, you actually congratulate yourself, because every time you do a mistake, every time you do something wrong, your next step, you're going to get better and better from that. You know how many things we do wrong as artists, and oh my gosh, I couldn't even tell you how many I've done. It's just you try things, you just try, and then when they go wrong, you learn something. When it all turns out, you don't really learn anything. You have to learn from when your mistakes. Yeah, Maria, just put your I think it's at just put the dates and everything right there in the chat. That way, people can find it for your classes. Maria's doing a gouache class. So now I'm making a little bit darker shadows. I'm gonna negative paint the crosswalk again. This time I'm going all the way through. And this time I'm going farther down. I'm not going to stop halfway like it is in the photo, because it looks just kind of weird to stop it like right on the edge of it. That's a tangent, by the way. So I'm just going to go a little bit farther down with the values. And I'll put a little bit of lavender on the bottom part here, just because it'll reflect the bottom shadow too. And so when you give a shadow a color in one spot, when you put it somewhere else, then it automatically says that that's a shadow. When you're using shadows and all of a sudden you see it somewhere else, you just can use a certain color and it'll give you that idea. Then your mind says, okay, that's a shadow because it's a shadow somewhere else. This is getting a little bit too dark back here, but maybe not. Let me see. There's gonna be a guy right here. This is too brown, so what I do? I take the brown out of there, just rub it out. I'm gonna take the brown out and put my lavender back there with a little bit of orange. And make it kind of gray, but at least it won't look it'll look more shadow-like. Again, because this is really showing shadow, and so you're definitely gonna have to have a little bit of lavender or violet in your shadow. I'm just gonna put some shadowing here in the windows. And actually there's white here, because this is in shadow, but I'm going to decide to not do that. I'm just going to go like this real quickly. Put a little shadow on that side. I'm not using white. Well, I guess it is kind of white. The part that I left, those will look good. And then this back there's little windows. I'm going to put them in real quickly so I'm done with the background then. I'll take my little brush, just do a couple little windows back here, and I should be using a flat brush, not a round brush, to do windows. But I can't find it right now. And this building right here is really light. And there's going to be a really darks, and I don't have them in there yet, so wait until you see what it'll look like, and it'll be great. I'm also going to put darker shadows in the front here now, and that are going to be nice and dark. That are a little bit more, where you can see the edges. I'm going to use a big round brush for my shadowing because I don't have to make it really perfect. So I'm going to go in here and just do some hard-edged. Not everything has to be soft-edged for your shadows. You can also have some hard-edged ones. So I'm just going to go in there. Matter of fact, it's good to have both in your painting, like some hard shadows and the soft shadows, because things that are closer will have harder shadows, and then I'm still going to try to dapple it a little bit. Not many, just a few here. And you can also soften it too, a little bit. And then when it gets to the edge, it stops and then goes up on here a little bit farther up, and it keeps on going, right? And you also want to put more than one color in this shadow. You don't want to, again, stick with one color on things. And this shadow will go right over the white, but lighter. Watch this. So I'm just put it right over the light and just make it lighter. Make this shadow a little bit lighter. So it keeps on going across. Dappled. And then I'm just going to randomly put in shadows here. Hard edged, but not very contrasty. Like, I'm not going too contrasty. Though down here I think I should. I think down here I should go a little bit darker. And sometimes you don't know. Sometimes you got to just try it and see. You know, if it didn't work out, well, take it back out. Take it out and redo the whole foreground again, but I think it'll work. Now these are harder edge too, from the person and for the hydrant here. Any questions? Nope. See, also by making this darker, then it brings my eye over there. You know, I'm going to put a little bit of orange down here, a little gray, just so that you have a little bit of texture in there. And the lines of the sidewalk will really make everything. It's neat how that works, where you just a little purple and blue, make a gray kind of. I'm going to spatter here a little bit. I don't want to get too carried away, but I do like getting carried away. Let the pigment do its thing. I know this looks really rough right now because there's a lot of wetness that makes it look kind of dark, but this will all smooth out and will look really nice, and where the hard edges will look very dappled. And then once I get the lines in there, it'll look really neat. You just watch, because see how the light's coming through the middle here? And let's start doing our darks, because that's pretty much all my big mediums and big darks. Now we're going to go with our little detail stuff. And that's the fun part. That's always my fun part when you're doing details, right? So let's go right away with this street light. You got to go up here above this. Make it a street light. And here's the crosswalk. Those are also orange. And I actually missed drawing this one right here. That goes right in front of the window. I'm gonna leave that one out. This is a one-way sign, and you can do stuff like that too. You can put the one-way sign in by negative painting it. This is one way inside there, but I'm not going to go that far. And around the windows are dark, are light. No, light. I just did that wrong. Oh well, I'm doing these dark then. Just did that wrong. Let's take a really nice dark. I'm using black here with some purple, dark blue. And I'm going to do like a really nice dark for this, the part that are not lit. This round part that's not lit. And now for these lines going across here, I'm going to have to go really... There's one big pole right here that holds this whole thing up. So we're going to go like this. Boom, one line. Just go and do it. And these are actually, they're not poles. These are wires like cables holding that thing up. I'll do that with a small rigger brush later. And then there's a crosswalk right here thing. I'm kind of going in here now with darks just to get my darks so that the person comes out. I don't know what's there exactly, but enough to show that I want to show that person. Since I made these dark instead of light, I have to make them all that way, so that was just my mistake. But I will make the inside dark, or the inside, yeah, inside I'll make dark then. Ask questions, guys. I will answer if you ask some questions. This is a bigger, should I make the big post first? I'm going to do the big post and then I'll do the little ones after that. In city scenes, there are definitely more work. I mean, there's a lot of stuff happening in a city, so there's a little bit more work to do when it comes to drawing and just getting things done. But, you know, again, you saw when I did the beginning, though, I didn't do the little things. It was all big stuff first, and then you get smaller and smaller as you go along. And now I can do things like his hair here, just make it dark. He's got a dark, there's some shadowing on his backpack, but let's just do his pants right here. Make them nice and dark and probably blue jeans, so let's make them a little bit blue. And his shoe, he's got the back of his shoe, you can see, that because one part is always up and the other part's down. Let's get, this lady has a backpack, or like a purse that's really big actually, like a bag that she's holding that's really dark. And she's holding it in her hand, it goes around like this. And then her work inside her coat though is dark. So I'm getting inside of her coat, that's dark in there. She's got a dark outfit on. Goes right down to her leg, to her feet. Her leg to her feet. This is her leg. And she's walking, kind of. She just stopped for a second. I got another shot of these two, because with these new cameras, you can get really close to people and like pretend like you're on the phone. You hold it up like this, but you just press that button, and you can walk right next to them, and you can get right into their face, basically, and you can take a picture. So it's pretty interesting, these new cameras nowadays, and that you can just take a shot by pressing the volume button. At least on mine I can. And, you know, just walk around and take shots of people. Thanks, Maria, for asking everybody to like or post or add a comment later on in the comment section. Put a little dark back here. She's got a purse too. She's got some kind of. She's got a dark purse right here. It's funny that they all have dark legs. They all have dark pants on, which actually works out really well for the picture. And you see how I'm not getting super detailed. I mean, detailed enough. And her feet go into the shadow part, so it's part of the shadow. I'm going to put the feet right into the shadow, and I'm going to make a little bit darker shadow underneath that. So I'm just going to keep it going, the shadow. It's not like I do little pieces. That's part of the the shadow's coming off the person's leg, so. And now I'm going to give her a little bit darker skin because her skin is in shadow, and her hair is light. And then her hand, same thing. I lost her hand here, so I'm just going to rub it a little bit, put it back a little light. This is a little in shadow a little bit, but her coat is light, so I'm going to keep it light. It's kind of important. And there's also a shadow from this bag, I'm thinking, right across here. And again, this lady has a bright green on, and you know, since I've had that green back there, I might as well give her. I'll give her that little green there. She's also got. Does she got a purse there? No, she doesn't. She has a shadow, a dark green shadow right in the bottom here, underneath her arm. There's a shadow on the floor back here. And sometimes you notice I don't even know what kind of color I have in my brush. I just put it down, right? And it was the wrong color, but hey, it worked, right? And then these signs are in, this one's not in shadow, this one's in the sunlight. Same thing with this one, and you can't really read it out, so I put a little bit of something different there, a little red. And now back here, I gotta make that, oh, that's still wet. Let me just really quickly dry that. Sorry guys, how much time do I have? 5 minutes. Uh oh, I better hurry. Let me just dry it real quick. I'm getting a watermark right there that I don't like, and I'll show you how to get rid of that. That happens. You know, you get watermarks here and there sometimes. All right, so let's go real quick. We only got 5 minutes left, and so what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna put all the little fine details. Here we're just going to put a little red in that. Here we're going to put red on top, but it's green, so I got to put a green light on. Let's just put that green. It's got to be a bright green, so let's do the red instead of like stop. Let's make everybody stop. Stop to look at the picture. And what I'll do is up here I'll put in pure red. Like we'll put the stop line on with red, and it's red's actually better. There we go. See, a little bit better. And then we have, this is also a one-way sign. Let me take my rigger, and I'm gonna have to turn my thing sideways, or let me see if I can do it this way. I usually like going up and down, or when you go across, it's kind of a little difficult to see. There we go. Couple lines here. Lines go up and down. Now let's get our little darks all through here. There's a bunch of darks through here. And they're important because this is what's going to be part of your secondary interest. This is secondary. That's the first interest, center of interest. And I'm also going to rub this out because this got to be a watermark. So if you just rub it and let the water soften it again. Just rub it and then put some water in there, so a little bit more pigment, and just let it float in there, and it'll be fine. But do it after it's dry. Don't do it while it's wet, because that'll just give you more watermarks. I'll put a little warmth in that. That's okay. Got a little warmth in this top part is fine. That means I got to put it up here though too, a little bit. Bring it in there a little bit. That's okay. A little cooler down here. Okay. Now for our dark details, let's go in here. Watch. Wait. This is it's a FedEx. You can do the FedEx truck. You can actually put the names on it too. That gets to be like really detailed now, and that's okay. Go detailed. Go as detailed as you want, especially in the center of interest and the secondary interest. Like I'm putting in the wheels, the dark wheels right here. This is the back of the truck, so I'll make that a little bit darker. This is the back of the garbage truck. I'll put all kinds of little things in there. I'll sign it up like that. And I'm using a really nice dark underneath the car, and then put a shadow from there. And it doesn't look exactly like a thing because I'm going really fast, but that's okay. It's not, you know that they're cars. It doesn't matter if they're exactly what they are. Now this car up here is going to be a nice, actually when you're doing cars, there's only like 5 colors for cars. Yeah, there's a lot more, but averagely, mostly cars are either red, blue, white, black, and when I say black, that also means grays, or like silver, gray, gray, black, burgundy, like a red, like you can get burgundies and stuff like that in the car. But yeah, there's not many colors for cars nowadays out there. They're very limited, and that's okay because it makes it easier on us. Now this old car right here is dark, and the roof is on the side is dark. The wheel is dark, and the shadow underneath the wheel is dark. Rooftop. And then, if you want, you can make those colors fill too. I mean, you can make this car red and but go for the value first, then put the color in afterwards. And let's see here. I'm hurrying here, guys. I hope we get this done in time. Oh, I forgot the fire hydrant completely. I'm gonna make it red. Make that like a not bright red. Well, maybe a bright red. Let's see. Why am I using such a small brush? Let's go in here, do that fire hydrant. I'm gonna make the top light. And the sides can be a small round brush. I'm going to keep the top light because the background is dark, right? And so I'm just going to give it a little bit of a shadow on the side. And actually, I should be done, shouldn't I? Okay, let me just do a few more things. Give the wall a little bit of texture since there is these little things close to it, so I can give it like a little shadowing. I could also give it bricks. And one more thing for the windows, I'm gonna go really dark. Sorry for going over a little bit, but having too much fun. I don't want to stop yet. I really do love doing city scenes. They're just my favorite. Just love doing them. Well, I worked for 35 years in the city of Chicago, and you get to know it pretty well, and so it's fun going there and doing all the work for all the neat things that you can see, all the hustle and bustle. And right here, I'm gonna start putting in bricks. I'm just putting in random bricks. But only right by center of interest. This is the center of interest area, right? I could take my smaller brush and just get the bricks, but I'm just going in there, just randomly getting some bricks in there. And look at how I just pick up any color on my palettes because it really doesn't matter. You're just getting it darker. It's a tint. It's a tint. Get windows here. All right, I think we are on the shadowing. And the lines, of course, you just put a couple lines in there, and this is still kind of wet, so I'm just going to put in a few here. It's really important in the sidewalk to put in these lines. I don't know, it just really helps to give you the right perspective and everything. And even on the street, I'm going to put in a little bit of the dark here. And I'll do that like a little grate on the side here. All right, and so like I said, when I'm done here, when it dries, I'm going to put that in there. But that's pretty much it for it, right? All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for coming by, and it's always been great to teach you guys and get inspired and take a look at other people's work. And you can copy some of my work if you want. It's no big deal. I don't mind if you copy my work. Oh, that headlight was too high. It's still wet, this car. I was going to put the headlight right there. Or the tail light, and it's like, look at that. It's just running everywhere. So I'll wait for that to dry too. And if you ever have any questions, once you're coming and watching me, and I don't mind answering questions. And so ask questions, please. I love them. and I'll try to answer them right away, but sometimes I'm busy. So leave it a couple times. If you need to really know something, let me know. I will definitely try to answer. All right, that's it. So thanks, guys. And if you're around Lake Zurich, like I said, this afternoon, I will be there from 1 to 4 at the show that we have for our club. And I will see you on Thursday. I'm sorry I didn't have one this Thursday. We had it Wednesday because I was in New York. But we'll see you this Thursday, and we'll have some fun. All right?